what are some of the best things about living in Grenada? If you're thinking about coming to Grenada on holiday or making a longer term move, whether as a digital nomad or someone who might like to live here more permanently, stay tuned because I'm going to talk you through what I think are some of the best things about this island. So what's prompted me to make this video is that a few of you seem very concerned that I'm regressing living here. I moved here in July 2021 and a few weeks ago I posted a fairly honest video talking about some of the stuff that I was finding challenging, and I got a few comments from family members too saying, oh, I've heard Zoe doesn't like Grenada, she's regressing living there, and nothing could be further from the truth. This is an awesome place. I'm recording this. It's about 8:30 in the morning. I just dropped my kids off at school and I'm on the stunning Grenada beach. So yeah, having this sort of backdrop to your life is pretty awesome. So I'm just figuring out how to use my tripod. One of the first things that I absolutely love about living here is the safety. You see me pretty much uninterruptedly walking down the beach. No one's come up to me, offered to sell me anything, offered to ask me for anything. And life here is just really chilled. As a single woman with kids, it's just such a peace of mind to be able to let them be around other kids, sometimes even go off exploring on their own and know that they'll be safe. I think because Grenada is so small, everyone really seems to know each other. So that does lead to a sense of like responsibility to, you know, do the right thing. And that's not to say that the island is absolutely safe. There's this saying that it's so safe that you can leave your back door open. You don't need to lock your doors. I don't think that's true. I mean, it may be in some communities, but I definitely wouldn't recommend it. And I've also had experience of being burgled here a few years ago. So take the safety with a dose of reality. Don't necessarily put yourself in situations that you wouldn't do back home. But generally, you know, as a mum of a son who's 11, just about to start secondary school, if we were back in England, if we were back in London, I'd be worried about him going to and from school. Issues like knife crime, muggings, abductions, and that doesn't really happen here. It's just, yeah, that's a huge relief. So the safety element is definitely one of the pros. Number two, as someone who works from Grenada, I've got to say one of my favorite things here is just how good the Wi-Fi is. I'm hoping you can hear me above this crazy wind. But yeah, a lot of times, probably one of the most frequently asked questions that I get is, you know, what's the Wi-Fi like? People seem to think it's the Caribbean, so it's really third world with terrible Wi-Fi. But in many instances, I've found that the Wi-Fi is generally better here than it is in the UK. There are two main providers here, one being Digicel, the other Flow. Flow you can find pretty much everywhere. That's what I use, and their speeds are pretty good. You have a range of prices to pay. It's a little bit more than you'll pay back in the UK. So my monthly bill is 140 EC, I think, which is about, quick maths, 30 something pounds. So yeah, that's more than I pay in the UK, but it gives me peace of mind that I can work, that I can do all of my online facilitation. So yeah, I thought I'd throw that one out there, that for those of you thinking about moving to the Caribbean, moving to Grenada, but worried about how decent the Wi-Fi is, you never need to ask me again, because I've told you on record that Wi-Fi is one of the things that I love about Grenada. And if you happen to be in St. George's, in certain areas, Digicel also offers packages of fibre broadband. So you can get speeds of up to, I think it's 250 megs, which is pretty awesome. I'm just waiting for them to roll it out to my area because that'll be a total game changer. Number three, it's a really obvious one, but couldn't go without mentioning the sunshine. As someone born and bred in the UK, which is a pretty dark, dreary, gloomy place, the impact of being able to wake up to glorious sunshine, it just makes such a difference to your quality of life. I'm actually recording today because it's a rare cloudy day and I can actually walk without sweating to death. But yeah, just in your body, not being tensed up against the cold, being able to just, you know, not wear a jacket, feel the air on your skin, the sun on your skin. It's awesome. and especially in winter. I know my friend Stephanie Perry has a campaign called Boycott Winter, which she's running from Curacao right now. But yeah, it's definitely an option for those of you who can't stand the gloominess, the endless gloominess of winters in the global north. Popping down to the Caribbean, being in Grenada is, yeah, it's life-changing. The sun is awesome. 10 out of 10 for the sun. Number 4 is nature. I love nature. Grenada is just such a beautiful, beautiful, green, lush island compared to many others that are kind of flat and smooth. Grenada is rugged, but I like rugged. I'm going to see if I can turn around. Nope. Let me see. Yeah, there you go. Turning around, showing you a bit of the scenery here. It's green. It's lush. In seeing this on a daily basis really does make a difference in terms of just for the sort of folks who are kind of bored of city life, concrete jungle, switching it for this, having opportunities to just get out, be in nature, whether it's forests, whether it's rivers, whether it's the endless mountains that there seem to be to explore. Grenada is really, really awesome for that, and it makes such a difference to my well-being, just being surrounded by greenery and nature on a daily basis compared to bricks and concrete and that sort of thing that I had back in London. Number 5 again is a really personal one, but for me, part of the reason I came back to Grenada is just because I wanted to be able to connect to my family. It's really quite interesting to think how quickly your connection to a particular destination can be lost. My family, my parents moved to England in the 60s, but already coming back, I don't know most of my cousins, I don't know most of my relatives, so that if I want my kids to be able to have a genuine connection to Grenada, I'm the one who's got to come here and make it happen. And I think it's really important to know where you're from. I imagine that my kids probably won't choose to stay in Grenada once they have the choice to do so, once they're like teenagers or early adults, but at least they'll know where they're from. At least they'll have a genuine connection and know where they're rooted. And yeah, that's an exciting thing. And it's nice to, just dig into the history, and I guess that kind of leads me into the next thing that I love. It's just the history of the island. Grenada is an awesome place. I know I'm biased, but I do try to be as pan-Caribbean as possible. And if you check out my interviews, I love to rep for other islands too. But from my perspective, Grenada is genuinely awesome. We are the only English-speaking island in the Caribbean to have experienced a revolution in 1979. That took place here, a socialist/communist revolution that really had pros and cons, that was quite significant in the way in which it changed how people participated in their sense of daily life and their sense of identity, sense of community, and being on an island where that is part of the lived history is really interesting to explore. You also have amazing historical figures like Malcolm X. Malcolm X's mother was born in Grenada, in La Digue, St. Andrews, and I'm actually looking forward to sharing a video about her story and bumping into one of their relatives up there. But it's an island that breathes a certain sort of person, a certain sort of ferment, whether it's that connection to nature, that allows people to feel grounded, that gives them a real sense of who they are and what's possible. Just being here, being able to soak all of that in is absolutely awesome. And even if you come for a holiday, I think you'll be able to dip into that and get a sense of what it's like. The historical stuff here isn't really promoted that much in terms of tourism or the tourism board. The main places that they'll send you to are the forts, which I don't really care that much about in terms of European history or the slave pens, but I think in terms of other parts, are kind of the hidden history. There's lots once you start digging. Places like Ferron's camp and places where Shango ceremonies used to be held, that sort of stuff, like the real history, the true history, the most relevant history to me. I love being able to tap into that and explore that at will. So when I chat to people who happen to be passing through here, whether it's folks living on boats or folks who tend to come back to Grenada on holiday again and again, I ask them, you could go anywhere in the Caribbean. Why do you keep on coming back to Grenada? Or why do you choose to spend so much time here? And generally the response, pretty much without fail, is like, there are other islands, similar weather, similar temperature, similar cuisine, but the thing that we love about Grenada is the people. And I don't get the sense that they're lying to me just because I happen to be Grenadian. I think Grenadians we're just chilled, super laid back, not pushy. Again, I haven't been interrupted in this. No one's offered to flog me anything. And I think it's not for everyone. Some people, like things to be like on demand, snappy, hustle, hustle, hustle. But if you like chill, if you like flow, then Grenada is an awesome place to be. Sometimes it can be tricky, as I said in the other video. Sometimes laid back it can be a bit draining, when you want things done quickly. But when you learn to adjust to that, to accept that, it is wonderful. Being in Grenada, being around Grenadians is really relaxing. There's nothing better than sitting down and just liming, which is just the art of sitting down and just enjoying yourself, not necessarily doing a lot. It could be just chatting, watching life go by, but that simple pleasure, the ability to just be, is awesome. And I think Grenada is a wonderful place to be able to do that. And the people represent that perfectly, in my opinion. So one of the other things that I love about Grenada is just a slow pace of life. I know that I've, regularly complained about slow service in restaurants and hotels, government ministries, but my little temper tantrums aside, being able to chill out, just go more slowly makes such a difference. And it's not for everyone. Again, it kind of linked to one of the points I mentioned before. If you are the sort of person that likes things to happen right now, when you want it, Grenada is not the place for you. I'm going to be honest, the Tourism Authority might tell you differently, the Hotel Association might tell you differently, but Grenada is slow. It's really, really slow. I went for lunch yesterday, and I think it took maybe like an hour and 50 minutes for our salad to arrive. And 6 months ago, that would have driven me absolutely nuts. But I was like, do you know what? I don't have anything else to do today. Well, that's a lie. I did have other stuff to do today. But I was in such a stunning setting that you kind of make the choice. Am I going to be upset that I don't have a salad? Or am I going to enjoy the company that I'm in? Am I going to enjoy the setting that I'm in and just choose to chill and, be? And everyone's answer to that question is going to be different. But for me, learning how to adjust to the fact that Grenada is super slow, generally, it's quite here comes an interruption. It's quite a blessing, I think, and I feel very privileged to be able to experience that, to not to have to be in a place like London that is very stressy and the energy is just go, go, go. I love the pace, and it's an adjustment, but it's a necessary adjustment, I think, and one that anyone else who's looking to move here and to be able to just be a little bit more grounded, take time, be a little bit more present, I think that is definitely a pro of being in Grenada. And the last and final point for me is that given a lot of the stuff that I said before, the slow pace of life, the nature, the fact that things are just quite different here, what I love about being here and what I'm having to adapt to is that in some ways there's really nowhere to hide. You can't just shop away your stresses on Amazon Prime. You can't just go to like the hot new bar or lots of hot new bars to kind of distract yourself from whatever's going on. I think Grenada is amazing in the way that it just really gives you space to be, to reflect, and to just tap into whatever's necessary for you. I think a lot of what I personally found frustrating about living in the UK and other big cities, Western places, it's just that constant demand to consume, to produce, to be on, to, constant advertising, constant pressure. And Grenada has none of that, like absolutely none of that. And I think, in fact, if you need that, Grenada is going to be quite triggering for you, because that absence, if you're not ready to deal with it, can be really, really tricky. But I think if you choose to embrace that, if you choose to kind of start to do the work and reflect on, okay, what do I really need to do? Like, who am I aside from my job title? Who am I aside from what I wear, or what makeup brand I use, or where I'm seen socializing? I think, and I don't know the answer to those questions yet myself, but I think there is a lot of gems that can be discovered after going through that process. So yeah, that's my hunch. Those are my favorite things about being in Grenada. Ask me again in a year or 5 years time, that might completely have changed. But I would love to hear from your perspective. For those of you who are in Grenada, who've moved to Grenada, who've holidayed in Grenada, what are your favorite things about being on this island? What parts have I said you completely disagree with? It'll be great to know. But yeah, that's my perspective. Again, as always, thanks for following. Make sure to check out the Exodus Collective website, because I will be hosting a series of videos, basically webinars that talk you through how you can make your move to an island, whether I think we're going to be focusing on Grenada, St. Kitts and St. Lucia. So if you have an interest in any or all of those, check out the website, because there's going to be details of those sessions, those live sessions coming up soon. And that's it, basically. Stay tuned, make sure to subscribe. If you know anyone who would be interested in these sort of conversations, definitely make sure that they are joining us too. And as always, make sure to comment, and I will see you next week. Adios.